Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you my thoughts on the British royal family and Harry and Meghan, and today it's the drop that I told you about that was coming. Right, so let's start from the very beginning, because I think most of us have been watching this for 6 years, and it's only now that everything lines up like it's been choreographed. You know how sometimes you look back and go, oh, that was the moment. That was the thing that started the collapse. Well, I think we just lived through it. And William didn't even have to lift a finger. He just waited and let the Yorks do it for him. You see, I always thought that Andrew was the loose thread, the one who would drag everyone down, his daughters, his brother, the whole line. But no, it wasn't Andrew. Andrew was not the weapon. He was the distraction. And Beatrice and Eugenie, they're the real final move. Let me paint this slowly for you. Picture 2010. Andrew's in Switzerland signing papers for a chalet. Not just him, but Beatrice and Eugenie sign as well. Co-sign. At 22 and 20 years old. Now, why would two girls with no real income, Eugenie was still at uni and Beatrice was working for a firm that nobody remembers, why would they risk their names on a £3 million loan? Because Daddy needed collateral, because the Epstein money wasn't free, and because they knew if push came to shove, they could always flash the princess title and someone would bail them out. And fast forward, 15 years later, palace auditors finally open that file. Not because Charles wants to punish them, but because William does, quietly and methodically. He's got the key staff, the private accountants, and the sort of people who don't leak. They pull the chalet deed, they see the signatures, and they ask, did Eugenie ever make a penny from that? Did Beatrice? Or did it just sit empty while Andrew flew in twice a year, paid with hush money? And another thing, why would William do this? Why is he more ruthless with those princesses? Because of the way that they've treated his wife, Catherine. We've seen a lot of bad energy between them. There have been quite unfair jokes referring to Beatrice and Eugenie as the ugly sisters and Catherine as being a sort of Cinderella type. I think that was very harsh, but they have refused many times to acknowledge Catherine as the princess and the queen, the future queen that she will be. So Andrew has also made remarks about Catherine's lack of royal blood and the fact that he regarded her as a commoner. So his daughters were obviously the same as their father in all this treatment of Catherine. So, bearing that in mind, here's where it gets quite interesting. Those titles are not just names, they're legal shields. You cannot bankrupt a princess. You cannot freeze assets attached to the crown. So interesting when you think about them co-signing for this chalet in Switzerland. But if you prove misuse, if you prove that they hid assets or signed fraudulent documents and took kickbacks, then that's it. They're gone. They're not princesses anymore. They're just women, taxpayers. And as for William's lawyers, they love that loophole. And they've already started. Yesterday, Eugenie posted on Instagram not a full story, just a photo of a bonfire. And the caption was, letting go of what no longer serves. #gratitude. #new chapter. She never does that. she's private. So that is definitely a signal. Either she's about to walk away or she knows that they're coming for her. And Beatrice, well, she's been radio silent since the state opening. No pictures with Wolfie, no school run, nothing. They're hiding. And when royals hide, it means they know. Now let's tie this back to Harry. Everyone is saying, but he stepped down, he quit. Why would this hurt him? Because he didn't quit. He was fired. Softly. Titles were kept as a joke. But the children, you ask, Archie and Lily, they got Prince and Princess. Yes, they did. And that's the hook. The palace never objected back then. They let it happen. I think they actually welcomed it. And why? Because they wanted the leverage. Because they knew that someday, maybe 10 years, maybe 5, that they would pull it. And now they can. Because if Beatrice and Eugenie lose their titles, say Friday after a quiet statement, following an independent review, such as Princess Beatrice and Eugenie have agreed to renounce their HRHs in light of financial irregularities. Just a possibility. And then Harry has no leg. He'll shout, but we're grandchildren too. And the palace will reply, exactly. And you were born when? Referring to his children. Where? Signed by who? Show us the hospital wristband. Show us the midwife. Show us the original certificate before it was altered. Before Meghan's name became HRH months later. They don't have it. I've looked, and you've probably looked. There's nothing. Or if the Yorks keep them, then the rule stays. So if they keep their titles, if they're innocent, which they could well be, they keep their titles, and then the rule stays. Only if you're compromised do you lose everything, which means the only reason Harry and Meghan ever could lose theirs is because the children are not real, or not born of her body, or even born at all. And now the palace doesn't have to say it. They just have to ask. We have all the records for George, Charlotte, Louis, even Sienna. Where are yours? Silence. So that will be enough. Either the path ends the same, and I think that Prince William has already decided. I think that's why Kensington Palace security changed last night. No one's allowed in after 6. No visits. And as for Harry's team, they're panicking. I've got a source, and I won't name names, who says that their American lawyers are flying in tomorrow. Not to negotiate, but to witness, because they think the revocation letter is coming. And they want proof it's real. Because if it is, the Netflix deal collapses, the Archewell grants, everything tied to Prince Harry becomes worthless. And the children, they'll be Mr. Archie Mountbatten Windsor and Ms. Lilibet Diana. No titles, no line of succession. And no more hiding behind surrogacy rumours. Because if William strips the Yorks, he proves it's not about blood, it's about conduct. And as for Harry's conduct, totally disloyal and disrespectful and dishonest, possibly treasonous, and also Meghan. So when Eugenie posts that bonfire burning papers, it's not poetic, it's evidence. And when Beatrice stops showing her child, it's not going on vacation, it's fear. The final move isn't a press release, it's a phone call. William picks up and says it's over and hangs up. And by the weekend, we'll all know. But bear with me. Either the York princesses vanish or Harry has to hand over the birth certificates. And I don't think they've got them. Because if they did, they'd have shown them 5 years ago. So, 10 minutes of nothing and then everything. That's how it ends. But, just to be clear, I'm not saying that Beatrice nor Eugenie are guilty of anything. No crime, no fraud, nothing like that. Whatever the chalet investigation finds, I'm not accusing them. But here's the trap. If they come out clean, they keep their titles because they're real daughters, real grandchildren, blood related through and through. So that sets the bar. The titles stay if you're legitimate. And Harry and Meghan, well, they've already broken every rule except one, the one about the birth proof. So if the girls stay princesses, the palace can still say, fine, you've betrayed us, but we don't even need that. Just show us the babies are yours. And when they can't, no certificates, no DNA, no hospital record. They're finished, not for treason, but for the lie. Titles placed on fraudulent grounds. Either way, the Yorks, guilty or innocent, Harry and Meghan have no exit. It's proof or oblivion, and oblivion is already knocking on the door. It's the cleanest knife. The palace doesn't want a long, messy trial about treason, about leaked books, about threats to the firm. That stuff is embarrassing. It drags on, as we well know. It makes Harry a martyr to the tabloids. No. They'd much rather just say, we've reviewed the birth evidence, it doesn't match. Titles removed for misrepresentation. Boom. Done. Fraud on a royal birth certificate. You don't need a jury for this. You don't need to list every betrayal. One line. Factual inaccuracy in succession claim. And the public says, oh yes, the babies. Well, the rest of it fades. It's easier, it's quieter, and it's legal. And if Beatrice and Eugenie stay princesses, perfect cover. We only revoke when birth itself is fake. Loyalty's not the issue, just the truth. So either way, Harry's alleged children become the lever, not the carrot. They don't even have to mention Spare, nor Oprah, nor the palace invasion, nor anything. You know, all the betrayal, all the what a lot of people have regarded as treasonous behaviour from Harry and Meghan. None of that matters. It will be just show us the proof of the children, and they cannot. Game over, no noise, no sympathy, just silence. So that's how smart power works. It ends with paperwork and not with headlines. And this is what the palace wants. So here's what I think. This isn't going to drag on. By the weekend, Friday at the latest, you'll start to see the first sign. Not a big press conference, no drama. Maybe just a line tucked in a palace notice. For instance, titles under review. Or Eugenie unfollows someone. Or Harry's team books another flight back. These will be small things. But once it starts, it doesn't stop. They cannot stop. Because if they ask for the birth papers and nothing comes, it's over. And believe me, they are asking for them. This is happening behind the scenes. So there will be no appeal, no mercy if they refuse to give these. And then if we get to Sunday with what we think is nothing, it's still coming. This train left months ago. We're just watching the lights, so keep your eyes open. And it is finally coming to an end. So, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Ding the bell for alerts for more videos like this. Join as a member if you want more deep dives on this stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.